Bears' safety situation is far from settled, and they added another stud to the mix today. Chicago signed five-time Pro Bowler Adrian Wilson to a one-year contract. The longest tenured player in Chicago Bears history is hanging up his cleats today. The draft is 2 weeks later than normal this year, and that's given the Bears extra time to talk about the best defensive players that they can draft. But what's on tap for this next week? The White Sox hosted Kansas City today, coming off a 7-2 loss yesterday. Chicago is fighting to get out of last place in the Central Division. It's opening day at Wrigley Field, and you can feel the energy outside the ballpark. Despite the miserable conditions, fans are out here supporting their team. But how long are they willing to wait before they see some winning results? Former Ice Hogs coach Bill Peters gets his first shot as a head coach in the NHL. The Carolina Hurricanes hired Peters this afternoon. The Milwaukee Bucks got a big addition to their roster with Jabari Parker, and now they could see a big addition on the coaching end. The Cubs took on the Nationals in Game 1 of a doubleheader today, the first doubleheader at Wrigley since 1983. As a quarterback, Lynch had lots of space to work with, running on rollouts and from the shotgun. He even scored 48 rushing touchdowns in his career at NIU. But now he'll have to make that transition to a more confined running back spot. The Ice Hogs host the Milwaukee Admirals tonight in their final regular season meeting. One important name was added to their roster today. Teuvo Teravainen is making his Ice Hogs debut. This might be Clausen's first time in a Bears jersey, but he and Mark Trestman are no strangers. Trestman actually helped him prepare for the draft back in 2010. Now with some NFL experience, Clausen is back working with the man who helped him get his start. He's going to break up the ice for the bullpen. Being a Batgirl is not as easy as it looks. But there were some perks too, like taking a few swings. Even meeting some new friends. I love the outfit. 110 days isn't that long, right? That's how long hockey fans will have to wait before the Blackhawks are back on the ice. The Byron Tigers' hopes of winning a state championship were washed away this evening in Peoria, literally.
Hi, I'm Lauren Screeden for The Whistle, and I'm here with Walter McCarty, and he's going to tell us his life story in 60 seconds. Ready?
I'm ready.
Did you have any superstitions when you played?
Yeah, I seem to do everything in threes. Wake up at, 33 after, 3 after.
There is no shortage of competition at the Bears minicamp this week, and the coaching staff is already making cuts. The Bears terminated veteran defensive lineman Israel Donajay today. He wasn't the only one. Quarterback Gerard Johnson is also out of the running. The Bears waived him along with safety Sean Cattouse and tight end Fendi Anabun. LeBron leaving everyone guessing about where he's headed next? Sounds a little familiar. But James did address the idea of having flexibility last week in his exit interview after the NBA Finals. One champion is in flux about where to go next, but another knows exactly where he's going. Tiger Woods is headed straight back to the golf course. Anything can happen in the NHL draft, and no one knows that better than Blackhawks forward Brandon Bollig.
If there's one song that would be played when you run on the field, what would it be?
See, this is not going to get people excited, but I was always a big Rick Springfield fan. I like Jesse's Girl, so that's not football music.
The Toronto Blue Jays might be first in the AL East, but that didn't scare off the White Sox. Top of the third, no score, Jose Abreu sends the RBI single to left, his 64th RBI of the season. That's a 14-game hitting streak now for Abreu. Pretty impressive. Sox take the 1-0 lead. Top of the fourth, still 1-0. Moises Sierra belts the solo shot to left, his second of the season. Not hearing too much from his former teammates. Sox go up 2-0 and hang on to the lead. The Blackhawks took on the Los Angeles Kings today in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals Series. The Kings looking for revenge and the Blackhawks looking for a repeat of last year's series. In the first, Blackhawks on the power play. Nick Leddy's shot gets deflected by Brandon Saad. Chicago goes up 1-0. In the second period, Jonathan Taves takes the puck up the ice, rushes it to the net. Puck goes in, but it's waved off for goalie interference. Back to 1-0 Hawks. Still in the second, Tanner Pearson passes across to Tyler Toffoli, who chips it in past Crawford, glove side. Tied at 1, but not for long. Saad passes across to Duncan Keith, fires one high past Jonathan Quick. 2-1 Blackhawks. But under 4 to go in the third period, 3-on-1, Johnny Oduya feeds Taves, and he nets that fifth playoff goal that was taken away from him in the second. Bucks win it 3-1. The Bulls couldn't get it done, but it was a good day for Chicago baseball fans. Cubs looking to bounce back from last night's loss against Milwaukee. Second inning, no score. Starlin Castro hits a solo shot off Willie Peralta, his third home run of the season. Cubs are up 1-0. In the eighth inning, Cubs up 3-0. Castro at the plate again. He's on fire today. Hits another home run to left field this time. Cubs shut out the Brewers 4-0. Bears cornerback Tim Jennings stopped by this morning to work out with State Line athletes. Jennings taught local boys and girls fundamental football skills at the 11th annual Rockford Training Camp. The camp was held at Auburn High School in partnership with the Rockford Park District. NFL youth football staff and high school coaches put players through real NFL combine drills.
So how important is it as a pro athlete to be giving back and doing things like this?
Well, I think it's extremely important. You know, any chance we have as a role model that we're in, the stage that we're in, to kind of give back to the community. Any chance you got, especially with the football camps, it's always a fun deal. We come out and we can relate.
It was a thrill for State Line kids to learn from a pro athlete, and for Jennings, it was a humbling experience.
You know, the whole interact with the kids, you know, being a part of it, being able to run around, enjoy it and compete with them, just give you a chance to stay humble.
Rock Valley College continues to make a name for themselves in the NJCAA. The Golden Eagles softball team topped off their season today with a national championship win. Rock Valley beat Herkimer 2-1 and is bringing home RVC's 6th national title since 2001. In Nick 10 tennis, Boylan has claimed the conference title the past 5 years. The Titans entered the Nick 10 tournament this weekend with an undefeated record. Boylan's #2 doubles team took on Hononegah in the championship match. Luke Farley serves it up in Game 4 of the second set. Josh Ewis returns it, but Ben Rose is there to punch it back in the open spot for the point. Boylan takes the first set 6-4, but Hononegah's Varun Menon with the serve. A nice forehand return down the line. Hononegah takes the second set and goes on to win the match. But Boylan as a team defends their title and wins the Nick 10 Conference Tournament for the 6th year in a row. And the Cubs were back at it against the Brewers today after coming off a 1-run loss yesterday. In the first inning, former Cubs pitcher Matt Garza on the mound. Starlin Castro hits a long one, bounces off the ivy. Emilio Bonifacio scores, and Castro stops at second for the double. Cubs up 2-0. Later in the first, Wellington Castillo lines one deep for a 2-run double. Cubs go up 3-0 early, and that's the final score today. Cubs shut out the Brewers. Kentucky Derby winner California Chrome was hoping to keep his winning streak and Triple Crown dreams alive today. California Chrome was the 3-5 favorite in today's Preakness Stakes in Baltimore. He got off to a great start in the race. Coming around the final turn, California Chrome moves to the outside. Ride on Curlin trying to catch him at the end, but California Chrome has a 2-length lead. California Chrome wins it. He covered the 1 3/16 mile course with a time of 1:54.84. Victor Espinoza wins his second Preakness, and California Chrome will move on to try to capture the Belmont Stakes. There weren't horses in Indianapolis, but there was certainly some intense racing. Ed Carpenter is in position to earn a second straight Indianapolis 500 pole. He currently has the fastest 4-lap average at 230.66 miles per hour. The top 30 qualifiers are assured a starting spot, but none of the positions will be set until tomorrow. The 9 fastest cars advance to Sunday's pole shootout. A lot of things have felt like deja vu for the Blackhawks this year, and now a rematch of last year's Western Conference Final. The Blackhawks play the Los Angeles Kings tomorrow. The puck will drop at 2 o'clock at the United Center.
2 words sum up the Bears' strategy for this year's NFL Draft. Win now.
If there's a better player at another position, either side of the ball, we're going to take the best player that can help us win now.
There are 6 dynamic players that Phil Emery is zeroed in on for the Bears' 14th overall pick.
I'd be happy that 2 out of the 6 were on the board at our pick, and I'd be ecstatic if 3 out of the 6 were on the board.
This draft is heavy on offense, but the Bears' focus is on defense. Their first pick will most likely be a lineman or a safety. Emery is also considering big corners in the mid-rounds who can transition to safety.
We've looked at every corner that has length as a possible safety. I continue to give them lists of players to look at their position versatility.
The Bears have 7 picks in the draft, 1 in each of the first 5 rounds and 1 in the 6th round. No matter who Chicago picks, a player's ability will go beyond basic athleticism.
Not just raw athletic ability, it's athletic ability for the game of football. The fact that they would have a big ceiling athletically helps us like the player more.
The draft is 2 weeks later than normal this year, and that's given the Bears extra time to talk about the best defensive players that they can draft. But what's on tap for this next week?
Right now we're in that big part of where you plan for undrafted free agents. A lot of thought goes into the process and trying to find interconnections with those players.
The only guarantee Emory made today is that their first-round pick will not be a quarterback. Reporting from Chicago, I'm Lauren Screeden for the Bear Blitz.